The shocking truth about Tanzania's recent election protests has emerged, and it's a grim one. Hundreds of lives have been lost in a wave of violence that has gripped the nation. But here's where it gets even more alarming. The main opposition party claims that approximately 700 people have been killed in just 3 days of demonstrations, a figure that has sparked widespread outrage and concern. The unrest began on Election Day, Wednesday, when protesters took to the streets, accusing the government of suppressing the opposition by excluding key candidates from the presidential ballot. This move, seen by many as a blatant attempt to consolidate power, ignited a powder keg of frustration and anger among Tanzanians who felt their democratic rights were being trampled upon. According to John Katoka, a spokesperson for the Chadema opposition party, the death toll is staggering. He told Agence France Presse, AFP, that party members have been visiting hospitals and health clinics, painstakingly counting the dead. In Dar es Salaam alone, we're looking at around 350 fatalities, and in Mwanza, it's over 200. When you add the numbers from other regions, the total climbs to roughly 700, he revealed. And this is the part most people miss. Katoka warns that the actual number could be even higher, as many killings may have occurred during the nighttime curfew imposed since Wednesday. A security source corroborated these grim estimates, telling AFP that reports suggest over 500 deaths, possibly even 700 to 800 nationwide. Amnesty International, while more conservative in its figures, still reported at least 100 fatalities. These discrepancies highlight the chaos and lack of transparency surrounding the events, leaving many to wonder, what is the true cost of this political turmoil? The opposition's claims are not just about numbers, they are a desperate plea for justice. Katoka demands an end to what he calls police brutality and insists that the government stop killing our protesters. He goes further, calling for a transitional government to lay the groundwork for free and fair elections. Respect the will of the people, he urges, which is electoral justice. But here's where it gets controversial. While the government has yet to comment officially, critics argue that the exclusion of key opposition figures from the election was a deliberate strategy to silence dissent. In April, Tundu Lissu, Chadema's vice chair, was arrested on charges of treason and cybercrime. His party, which had advocated for election boycotts unless reforms were made, was later disqualified. Similarly, Luhaga Mpina, leader of the ACT Wazalendo party, was also barred from running, leaving President Samia Suluhu Hassan to face only lesser-known opponents from minor parties. Is this democracy, or a carefully orchestrated power grab? The government's response to the protests has been heavy-handed, to say the least. A curfew was imposed, and widespread internet disruptions were reported, with NetBlocks confirming a nationwide blackout. On Thursday, Army Chief Gen Jacob John Mukunda labeled the protesters criminals and vowed to contain the situation using security forces. By Friday, demonstrators faced a formidable police and military presence, raising questions about the proportionality of the response. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, expressed alarm over the violence, noting reports of at least 10 deaths at the hands of security forces. The OHCHR also received credible accounts of fatalities in Dar es Salaam, Shinyanga, and Morogoro, where live ammunition and tear gas were used to disperse crowds. Security forces must refrain from using unnecessary or disproportionate force, urged OHCHR spokesperson Sif Magango, while also calling on protesters to demonstrate peacefully. Human rights lawyer Tito Magoti condemned the use of force as unjustified, arguing that President Hassan must listen to the people instead of deploying police against them. The mood of the country is that there was no election, he said, echoing the sentiment that the exclusion of major opposition figures rendered the vote meaningless. Can a nation truly move forward when its citizens feel their voices are silenced? As the world watches, one thing is clear: Tanzania's election crisis is far from over. The questions it raises about democracy, justice, and human rights are deeply unsettling. What do you think? Is the government justified in its actions, or has it crossed a line? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation that demands to be had.